time to relax. How are you feeling? I actually probably don't want to ask
Groovy.
that because I know how you're feeling, which is
Feeling
hungover from
groovy.
illness, just like me.
Thank goodness we have beverages.
Yes, quite good. Quite good. So we're going to just jump right into it this time because Ron has something in particular that he wants to kick things off with, which I believe is a movie of some sort. Would you like to let everybody know what's up with that?
Sure. I watched a movie that I'd been putting off for a while, and it was just one of those right time, right place, and I decided to give it a shot, not knowing what exactly I was getting into. And it was a movie called The Last Voyage of the Demeter. Now, it wasn't all that loved by the critics, which was probably one of the reasons why I kind of kept putting it off.
Mhm.
But I
Mhm.
enjoyed this atmospheric horror. And I think that was why I actually liked it, because it was so atmospheric. Um, it may have been a slow burn, but yeah, it did not deserve the sort of some of the negative reviews it got. Um, it's based on a chapter from Bram Stoker's classic novel Dracula. Um, they the crew of the Demeter are trapped with Dracula during a voyage.
That seems like it's not going to end well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's like they have nowhere to run, they have nowhere to hide.
Hmm.
So it really it makes a very a tense scenario. And of course, uh, I love movies with ships,
Mm.
and I also
Nice.
love like historical pieces. So this had the whole the history, and the old ships, and I may be a bit biased, but
Hmm.
I was caught into the whole sort of scenario at the beginning, and then I mean, knowing the story from Dracula, I knew what was sort of coming,
Hmm.
but they flesh it out, you know, a lot compared
Hmm.
to the little bit that was actually in the book.
Hmm.
But I thought they really did a good job. The acting was really good. As I said, it was very atmospheric, a lot of tension. Um, it Yeah, it was a very pleasant surprise. So I just wanted to let people know if you're sitting on the fence like I was, I would suggest you check it out because it was actually a decent movie.
Nice.
So I don't know what critics were expecting or what they want, but
Hmm. Do you think maybe it was too straightforward for people? Maybe they were expecting more from it. Maybe it was too um, streamlined or something like that.
I don't know. I mean, it's probably just people want like Die Hard all the time.
Yeah, or I guess maybe that's what I mean. Maybe too subtle,
Yeah,
like not
yeah,
not like over the top and crazy enough for
yeah.
for the yeah.
Probably it was like a slow burn. There was lots of build up, and it was I mean there were no really big surprises
Hmm.
in it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was just cool, and the fact that it's kind of like a Dracula origin story as well, kind of thing. And
Hmm.
but yeah, I guess there weren't enough bombs going off and
Yeah.
super
Nice.
special effects, and the Dracula is like a creepy looking vampire,
Yeah.
where maybe they wanted someone in tux, drinking wine, being all fancy with a
Yeah. Yeah.
top
Yeah.
hat and stuff.
Yeah.
This is not that kind of Dracula.
Yeah. Nice.
So, I mean, if you look at the picture of the poster for it, it's right there. This is the
Hmm.
Dracula you're getting.
Yeah.
So,
This Drac is whack.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
guess if people are like comparing it to like the real Dracula, where you have the, here he is, a flamboyant owner of the castle who
Hmm.
also transforms into sort of a creepy, scary looking vampire. There's that, so the nuance of the two kind of characters, where this is very meat and potatoes, and maybe
Yeah.
critics wanted like Gary Oldman to suddenly appear out of the rafters or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
No,
but
well, I think sometimes a story, in whatever form it takes, can suffer from being straightforward, right? So, and that isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? But it's all about expectations, right? And I think that's where a lot of movies and books and media get kind of hurt is, if people's expectations are set one way when they go into an experience and then the experience doesn't match with their expectations, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad experience. It just means it wasn't a good fit for their taste or their mood or whatever. Because I feel like that's something you see with reviews a lot, right? Is something will get kind of slammed in reviews online, but then when you actually read the content of the reviews, you very quickly realize, oh, this just didn't match the person's mood or their personal taste or whatever. It's not that the thing was actually bad.
yeah. And it just seems like everybody's a critic these days. So,
Hmm.
it used to be, well, it was the Chicago Tribune or whatever with Siskel and Ebert, the Sun,
Hmm.
Chicago Sun, Chicago Tribune. And so it was like, well, that's what I want to see,
Chicago
or
Sun-Times.
or
Yeah.
or Leonard Maltin. It's like, but now it's just like, oh yeah, I got like a uh, website. I'm Joe Blow's Reviews, and they're on Rotten Tomatoes. It's just like top
Hmm.
critic. So, and I don't know. I guess it's a business for themselves too, so they got to be, try to make it seem like they're special or stand out from the other thousands. Because usually, like, there were a handful of reviewers that really mattered, and now
Hmm.
there's like thousands of reviewers. So I guess to stand out amongst them, you have to do whatever. So I'm very
Hmm.
skeptical of some reviewers.
Yeah, you kind of almost need to review the reviewers at a certain
Yeah,
point and find the person or the organization that matches your personal tastes and preferences and inclinations, right? Because I don't think it's as easy to just go by, um, an organization's reputation or whatever as it used to be, because so many of those entities are based on catering to a particular set of whims and preferences, that it's not really an objective review in the traditional sense. It's very much leaning in toward the subjective side of things. And that's something you kind of almost have to take into account when you're looking at reviews, is like, what are the biases or what are the preferences of the organization or the individual doing the reviewing, and how does that factor into, how things play out. But yeah, interesting. Sounds
so
like an
I think,
interesting movie.
yeah, depends if you're in the mood. If you're in the mood for like a Guardians of the Galaxy, you're probably not going to enjoy, you know, this one. But if you're in the
Hmm.
mood for, something that you can just sit and relax and it's got a lot of cool scenes and stuff, and
Hmm.
you don't mind the slow burn, then
Yeah, I
it's
was
good.
just
And it
trying to
does pick
think.
up.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of maybe what would be a good movie to compare it to. Like, is there something similar that tone wise or pacing wise or complexity wise that you would say it compares favorably to? Um, so I was trying to think of like some of the more like slow burn horror films that I've seen that I thought were good. But
Off the top of my head, I can't.
yeah,
I still have that brain fog from my
yeah, yeah, yeah.
bronchitis.
Um, yeah, no
But
worries.
there's others.
Yeah.
Some movies you just have to be in the mood for. Sometimes
Yeah.
you don't
Well,
want
I
a
was
lot of
just
things
thinking of maybe
blowing up.
something like The Terror. Right. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I always consider that to be more of like a slow burn, kind of more methodical, more like slower paced kind of thing. or like The Lighthouse or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So depends on your mood.
yeah.
It's one of those things. If you're in the mood for that, you just want a nice, you know, interesting movie, it's good. If you're looking for just a Spider-Man,
Hmm.
watch Spider-Man.
Nice.
So,
Uh, so you got me thinking about old-timey boat movies with all of this. So I'm just going to
uh-huh.
throw out my favorite old-timey boat movie just randomly here, which is Master and Commander.
Love
You
that
haven't seen
movie.
that? We should watch
Love
that
that
movie because
movie.
it's dope.
It is. I've seen it like about probably half a dozen times.
Yeah, nice. I think
Yeah,
that movie has some of the best audio work of any movie ever made. I think the sound in that movie is immaculate and amazing. That's my 2 cents on that.
like that. There was this series, um, Horatio, Hornblower
Hmm.
is a
Okay.
British one. And it was really, I like that too. It's kind of like um Sean Bean was in kind of the land equivalent where he played with Waterloo. He
Oh, okay.
something rifles. Ah, can't think of his name. It was based on a
Okay.
book, and that slipped my mind too.
Well, I think
Something
that was
rifles.
enough. I think you gave people enough that they can probably track it down.
Yeah, yeah. It's got Sean Bean in it, but he was on. You followed him and his adventures on
Mhm.
land during the whole English, French, and the Spanish fighting up until Waterloo, and then
Mhm.
Horatio Hornblower's done on water. So if
Mhm.
you like those history pieces, really cool.
Yeah. Nice.
You made me think of it when you said Master Commander.
Yeah,
Hell,
yeah.
I even loved the movie Battleship
Nice.
with anything on the water.
Anything
Or
on the water. Yeah.
yeah, I like that. So yeah. So the last voyage of the Demeter, I enjoyed it, and I don't think it deserved all the poo-poo reviews it got. So give it a chance.
There you go. There you have it.
And remember, stick around to the end because I have something else I want to talk about.
Yeah, yeah. This isn't the thing that I teased in episode 31. This is we have yet to get to the thing that Ron was super excited about. So hang in there because I got to talk about something else here for a hot second. So I was going to talk real quickly about an anime that I've been watching because you may recall from a previous off the clock when I was talking about animes. One of my all-time favorite series is a thing called Initial D, which is about street racing in Japan. That series was set in the 1990s, and I came across recently a new anime called MF Ghost, which is basically a sequel to Initial D. It actually um, has a lot of the same characters. It's basically set like 20 or 30 years in the future from when the events of Initial D ended. And that was pretty much all I needed to hear, being a big fan of the original series and everything. And so I immediately went out and got season one and started watching season two, which is in the process of being released as we speak. I think I'm about 8 or 9 episodes into that at the time of recording this. So I've still yet to see all of season two. But I wanted to mention it just because I found it kind of interesting because it was a great example to me of how something can trigger your nostalgia and be like entertaining and fun, even though you know objectively it's not as good as the original thing that you enjoyed. Um, and that's it's kind of a mixed bag for me with this one because as much as I am enjoying this new series and think that it's like cool and fun and is sparking some of the nostalgia that I had for the original, it's also making me remember just how great the original series actually was and making me kind of like want to go back and revisit that. Um, but it is cool. It's very cool and very like fun that there's actually a new series being made that's kind of following along with all of that stuff and continuing it and doing some interesting things in terms of like callbacks to the original. Like I'm just getting into the point in this new series where like they're really starting to lean into some of the callbacks and some like bringing back some of the old characters and stuff like that that you haven't seen in a long time. And so that's kind of neat, getting to see all that through that lens. But I will say, if I'm being honest about it, I don't think it's quite as good as the original stuff on like a few different fronts. But I did still find it, very entertaining and like watchable and enjoyable. It's just, not quite up to what I've come to expect from that stuff. But I did think it was worth mentioning at least because if you're not aware of it and you're a fan of Initial D, that's something you may want to check out just for the nostalgia vibes and for like the kind of cool like throwback aspect of it. It's kind of neat. So
Where did you
that's
watch
my
it
that's
on?
my little pick for the for the show here. Was that?
So where'd you watch it on?
I actually came across it on Apple TV. So I ended up just buying it, because
Okay.
I'm such a huge nerd for the series that I was just like, there's
Yeah.
no way I'm never gonna not watch this again. Um, so I didn't even look to see if it was available anywhere for streaming because I just was like, no, your Initial D sequel, take my money kind of
Ah,
thing. uh,
okay.
however, um, I wouldn't be at all surprised. In fact, I'm pretty sure you can stream that on Crunchyroll, which is pretty much where all the anime like ever is streamable. But how I actually ended up coming across it was I always look every year to see, um, if Initial D there's some stuff from Initial D that I actually don't have digitally. I only have it on DVD, and I always look every year to see if it's become available digitally so that I can purchase it. um, and while I was in the process of looking for that stuff again this year, I came across this new series, and it was just kind of like an insta buy for me. But yeah, that's what's up with that.
That'll be interesting.
So yeah, like I've said before when I was talking about it in the previous episode, if you're into anime, if you're into Japanese car culture and street racing and stuff like that, I think you would find certainly the original Initial D series is very like cool and watchable and fun even to this day. This new one I think is more for fans. Like if you're already a fan and you're already invested in the storyline and the characters and all that stuff, I'd say that's the target audience for this new one. I don't know that I'd necessarily recommend this to somebody who's not already familiar with it. Um, I think that's just not going to probably be a great like viewing experience for you because it's just stuff that is done. A lot of the stuff that's done in this series is done better in my mind in the original. So it's cool to see it again or like through with like a sort of different take or a different lens applied to it. Um, but if you're not already a fan, this new one's probably not going to do much for you, would be my kind of, I guess, bottom line take on it.
Stick to the original if you've never seen either.
Yeah, definitely start with your don't start with MF Ghost. Start with Initial D. And if you love Initial D, if it ends up like clicking for you and vibing for you, then by all means, you'll enjoy this MF Ghost series. But this one is definitely for fans of the original. It's not a starting point, I would say.
Duly noted.
Yeah. Um, So, without further ado, let's get into Ron's hot topic, which you've been teasing here throughout the day. Let's see what you got for us to close things out.
All right, kids, fasten your seatbelts because I'm going to tell you a story of hell on earth.
Hmm. Okay.
This is a TV series on Netflix called Black Summer. Now, normally I wouldn't be talking about this on Off the Clock just because I'd do it later. But because I just watched 2 seasons of it, I had to talk about it and get it off my chest today.
Uh-huh.
Now, I'm always down for anything zombie or post-apocalyptic. But this show is a big boiling pile of crap. And I hated
Okay.
it so much that I had to get it off my chest and talk about it.
Okay. All right. Wow. Okay.
And
Going
I
on the
normally
yeah.
don't ever say anything bad
Yeah.
about shows or anything because I appreciate the work that goes into it.
Yeah.
And as I've
No, this is new ground for you.
absolutely
This is
no
yeah.
work
Coming
went
out
into this
swinging.
big
Yeah.
piece of diarrhea. It just flooded the bowl. It's so bad. Now,
Wow.
I don't understand the whole concept behind it. It was supposedly some kind of spin-off from Z World or some other
World
zombie
War Z.
show. But I'm guessing it could have been it's like it's piecemeal. I don't know if it was maybe like a web show at one point or something, but it does not matter what it originally was. This is just terrible. I wrote a list of
Okay.
things
Okay.
by
Nice.
number.
Nice.
And number one, this show makes Americans look like they're a bunch of idiotic psychopaths. So if
Mhm.
you're American, you should be boycotting this movie. I'm Canadian, and I was like, whoever wrote this,
Were you offended for us?
yes, I was like, it was just, well, no one is that stupid. It's just like it was just like literally. Let's just go down the line. So the characters are constantly, and I mean constantly, making stupid decisions. And I got to reiterate, constantly. You don't get one person making one normal decision.
Yeah.
So it's like who are the writers? Like, was it a kindergarten class? Did they get those that 12 monkeys in a room writing, seeing what came out? I have no idea. Maybe it was AI.
I mean, could well be.
This is the best that they could come up with. But it was like literally, you couldn't have gotten a dumber bunch. No one would make so many consistent idiotic decisions.
Uh-huh.
Not one, not one likable or normal character.
Yeah.
No one helps anyone. All they are shooting and stealing from each other. The humans are literally worse than the zombies.
Yeah.
And oh, okay. There's like houses and stores everywhere, but when you see a group, whoever you're following, they only attack houses and stores that are already occupied.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, there's a house next door, go live in there. Or there's this house over here. It's in the middle of this hill, obviously, but whatever. It's just ridiculous. Um, okay, these are like fast turning zombies. Not only are they fast running, they're fast turning. So if
Uh-huh.
you die within a second,
You're a zombie.
you're a zombie.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, if people are dying automatically, why is there all this shooting? If I'm in a
Mhm.
group of people, why would I rush in there to be shooting? Because if the guy gets shot next to me, my buddy, he dies, he's going to be eating my face off.
Mhm.
So you think you'd want to keep shooting to a minimum because when people die, they
You're
turn
making more
automatically.
zombies. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the whole their plans are idiotic. And it was infuriating me more and more as I watched.
Yeah. I,
Um,
so I have to pause for a second and simply
yep,
ask, how is it that you made it through 2 seasons of this? Are the
because it was
episodes like
so
super short?
stupid. It was
Yeah.
so stupid. I could not believe it. So I forced myself to keep watching it. I know I'm almost as idiotic as the characters in this show. I was so stupid. I literally I could not believe how bad it was that I
Yeah.
could and I looked up reviews. There's people giving it 5-star reviews.
Huh.
I
Interesting.
don't know. I maybe I completely missed something, but this is one dumbass show. And now you also have random characters and situations just pop up with no explanations, and they like just disappear just as quickly. Like
Hmm.
this guy will just kind of they're trapped in this school at this one point, and this guy just like out of nowhere, you saw him once, and then never again, and then all of a sudden he appears to open the door for them. And then he's kind of following this group in a couple of the episodes, never saying a word. And then there's like some kind of other battle of some stupid sort because they're always killing each other. And then he just whistles, and out of the blue, this dog appears that we saw an episode before, and he puts like a handmade leash on him, and they just walk off. No, no, it's like none of this it made any sense. Like it
Yeah.
was, anyways. Um,
This has definitely got you fired up. I'm like
yeah,
I'm
it
actually
was
kind
just
of impressed at how angry this has made you.
yeah, it's so okay. Well, okay, let's look at the giant plot holes. So here's a big one. So there's this house mansion, we'll call it big mansion. It's on this kind of like hill sort of thing, open space everywhere, and there's like nothing around it. So this group is living in this house, and they're armed. This other group comes out of nowhere and decide we're going to go and take over this house.
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay, they're armed in there. You're going to go rushing a house. So a bunch of you are going to get killed and turn. Why don't you go to another house? Do whatever. But anyways, they go and attack this house. Out of nowhere, this third group appears and starts shooting the second group. So now you got the people in the house shooting. You've got this first attacking party shooting. You got this other party that came out of nowhere shooting. All these, I don't know where they all came from, literally in the middle of nowhere. And they're all shooting each other. All of them are turning into, uh, getting killed and turning into zombies. If that's not stupid enough, after finally the smoke clears, there's a few survivors. They kind of look around the house and just turn around and leave.
Hmm.
I just about threw my slipper at the TV screen.
Yeah.
I was like, what was the point of all this
Yeah. So
death
the
and
people who were
carnage?
trying to get the house were just like, nah, I'm over it.
Yeah,
Is it? Yeah.
yeah. They didn't even
Interesting.
say anything. They just left. Like
Yeah.
that's the thing. Half the time there's no explanations or anything. They just do stuff.
Hmm.
Um, oh, and then there's this random plane that just flies over. It's supposedly coming from some spot, and it just drops boxes of food and ammunition.
Yeah.
It's like I'm trying to think of what game. What's a game where it just
Yeah.
randomly
Yeah. I was gonna say it's
like
like
Call of
7 Days to
Duty.
Die or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, just here's
Yeah.
a here you're calling in and then ammo comes down. You know, you call it in,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this
Supplies
parachutes
drop.
down,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's like landing in this forest, and even then, someone they see it and they go there, and then they get it. Guaranteed. Well, obviously, because I saw the show, another group will appear
Sure.
and they want the thing. I'm just like, where are they coming from?
Right.
Like, it's sparsely populated, obviously. A lot of people have died. Go live in a house, an apartment somewhere. What are you doing
Hmm.
in the middle of the snow in a forest in open fields? Where are you coming from?
Yeah.
Are they springing out of the earth? And none of it made any sense. And the decisions they make, completely ridiculous. And you know what? And I hate it so much, I'm going to spoil the ending. So if you're watching and you actually care to watch this, well, you're a loser, but you deserve to know how it ends.
Uh-huh.
So at the end, there's this mother who's been guarding her sister or her daughter, sorry, this whole time, and she turns into this raving psychopath at the end. She just randomly kills people. That's the thing; they randomly kill people. It's like I'm walking up and I see you're coming down a road, and I'm coming down a road. I'm like, "Hey, where are you coming from?" I'm coming from Pittsburgh. Where are you coming from? I'm coming from Ottawa. I said, "Oh, look over there," and then it shoots you in the head.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is how they do it. So that's why I said at the beginning, I said it just makes all the character like if it's like idiotic psychopath. Like, does no one like no one like a oh you hurt? Let me help
Hmm.
you up. Do you want a granola bar? I got an extra granola bar.
Hmm.
It's like none of that. And they walk into stores, the shelves are full of food,
Hmm.
full of food. It's not like in like Walking Dead where they're all sparse. There's nothing like one can of tuna. These places are overflowing in food.
Hmm.
The generators are still working. I'm like, none of you can share or try to work together. You just kill each other. Anyways, whatever. So this mystery plane that just seems to be flying and dropping boxes for absolutely no reason. How does he know he's even dropping to anybody? No idea. But he's dropping ammunition and weapons and food. And I don't know where he's getting it from. But anyways, they all end up at this airfield where they think he is. And all the remnants of these people of the different gangs all converge on this airfield. Why they all converge at the same time, I don't know. Obviously, the director told them, show's about to end.
Yeah,
This is where you're all converging.
yeah.
Because in real life, they wouldn't all converge at the same time in the middle of nowhere. But, anyways, they're there. They're all having like their normal shootouts because none of them can go, oh, we've survived all the turmoil. We're finally at the airfield. Let's wait for the plane. Let's all be together, get on the plane and go. Nope. Let's just torture each other, capture, beat the crap out of each other, and shoot the rest. Which, of course, in turn makes piles of zombies. So now zombies are running all over the friggin' airfields, in between the hangars. So they're now even less survivors. Don't have to worry about the other crazy humans. But now they got like piles and piles of zombies everywhere. But out of the blue, this plane appears. So, I mean, karma, I guess, maybe, kismet, just happens to arrive when the few survivors are left. They look up, the plane lands. So at this point, the mother's already shot. The daughter and this other person, someone who hasn't spoken English through the entire time because she was actually visiting family or something. So I think she was Korean. I now that I remember, and uh, so no English through the whole show. Somehow survives. Her and the daughter rush to the airplane, and the Korean woman gets on the plane, and the daughter just turns around and runs away. I'm like, you're right there at the plane. It was all her idea to go to the plane because they'd found this other place, like a resort, which was secluded. They could have stayed there, their food and everything. She goes, no, I want to go to the plane. So she gets a chance after dragging her crew there, then all get killed because she wanted to go there. She's another moron. But she doesn't even get on the plane. She runs the other way, and zombies are after her, and blah 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 blah. So the Korean jumps in, goes, "Okay, loser, crazy woman, I'm shutting the door." Shuts the door. Plane takes off. So then the daughter just randomly runs around, and then comes to the back to the scene of the crime where her mother had blown up this thing and she's badly wounded and the main bad guy's badly wounded. They're both, when she gets there, both of them are pointing guns at each other because even when they're both badly wounded, they just can't even bother to help each other. They still want to shoot each other because they're mutts. They're so
Yeah.
stupid. But you think, okay, what's the daughter going to do? The daughter's going to like maybe knock the guy out, try to help her mother, do something. She runs over into this truck, gets this truck. I go, oh, she's going to drive over this guy. I said, oh, that might be not bad. And then maybe she put her mother in the truck. No, she just drives, parks it up beside the two of them who are like pointing guns at each other, and puts a car in park and just stares at the windshield.
Okay. Is this a
So,
real thing, or did you have a fever dream while you were sick? I don't
nope,
think this
this
is
is
a
it.
real
I
thing.
suggest you go to Netflix and look at Black
Why
Summer
would I do that, Ron? You're not
because
selling
you
me on
have
this at all.
it's it's good to experience something so bad you
I
know what not to do.
I I don't know if that's true, Ron. I feel like I lost brain cells just listening to you describe that.
Well, it gets better and not in a good way. So just to
Okay, I'm
fill
bracing
things up because
myself.
they finally go back up to the plane at the very end, and the plane's flying, and she's like chattering away in Korean, and the pilot's his back's to her, and she's like whatever. She must be frustrated because she hasn't been able to speak to anybody, and she's like blah blah blah, and then she just like is tired of it and puts her head back. And I'm thinking, okay, what's going to happen? Is the plane going to blow up, or is she going to be put into? But the Korean, the pilot turns around, starts talking in Korean, and she kind of, what? You speak Korean? He goes, oh yes, I speak a bit of Korean, and he's Korean American. He speaks English, but he also speaks Korean. Another really
Convenient.
weird coincidence.
Yeah, that's very convenient. Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
and she's like, where do we go? Oh, we've got to go far. And he goes, you should just rest. So she puts her head back, and that's how it ends. So apparently, there's this one Korean guy just flying across America in this like private Cessna jet. How he's throwing out these crates beyond me because it's not like a cargo plane.
Uh,
So and he's the only one on it. So I don't know if he's putting on autopilot and then throwing them out the side of the thing. Why he's doing it, I have no idea because he doesn't know anybody down there. Why doesn't he stay wherever the hell he came from if they got planes and such supplies? Who does he think he's giving it to? What are the odds that this guy, like at the very end, oh, she hasn't been able to speak with anyone who speaks Korean the whole time, and at the very end, the pilot just happens to speak Korean.
that sounds like the most awful thing ever.
It is literally the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Wow.
It is like that's why I wanted to squeeze it in, but I didn't want to tell you anything about it until I did it because it's just watch a random episode.
Yeah.
Just just it doesn't even matter because it doesn't matter if you watch it from the beginning to the end because none of it makes sense anyways. And then another thing they do is you watch, we'll say the show's an hour. I think it's shorter than that, but it's like it's an hour
I
long.
hope so. I
So
hope you
it
didn't
goes
spend
on
hours of your life on this.
it goes on for like 10 minutes and then the scene ends and it's black screen and it'll say graduation day. And then you're so completely somewhere else doing something else and then that stops and then a black screen comes up and it'll go renewal day. And then it's like a new meeting, new friends, old friends. So you've got these black cards screen coming up with these words and phrases separating all these different things that are going on. So it's like 18 different short episodes going on, and I don't know. It and none of it made sense. It's just
Yeah.
I was like, it's a zombie apocalypse. Everything's, going along, and you're just like, oh, here we are. We're driving in a van. We're driving in a van, and all of a sudden this truck will come up, and you go, oh, it's a truck. Maybe they're going to drive together to get this stadium where supposedly they're doing it. Nope, the truck just randomly tries to smash into them and drive them off, and then ends in like gunfights and I'm just that's so stupid.
Yeah.
It's the stupidest show I've ever seen. So, anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up because it's just getting me. My heart's gonna probably fall out on me. So I just want to let everybody know and warn you, Black Summer's here, and it'll kill you if you watch it. That's how
And
bad it is.
okay, that seems legit. I think we can leave it at that. Uh,
Yeah,
thanks for the heads up.
yeah, no problem. Black Summer. It's on Netflix. You should watch
Don't
it.
watch it.
Absolutely watch it. And leave a
Don't watch
comment.
it.
You don't even have to watch the whole show. Just watch an episode. Anyone, it's all stupid. So it doesn't matter where you watch it. It doesn't matter if you watch the beginning or at the end. None of it makes sense. So you can just like randomly pick an episode and just see the BS that happens.
All right. Breathe with me. Deep breath. All right.
Black Summer, worst show ever. I feel better now.